Welcome to another episode of Kiss My Assets.
The transparency, the openness, the communication is more than you could expect. I'm sold.
Don't let the fact that you don't know something or don't know enough about something hold you back.
I knew I wanted to invest. What better way to invest than to invest in what I already know that I love, which is real estate.
It was initially the 12% return, but it quickly turned into the people.
We're back again another week of Kiss My Assets with Jamison, our co-founder, and me, Heather. I work in investor relations, so I'm the one that gets to talk to you if you call.
Hi, Heather.
Hi. And we are talking about, I think, I like a love story. And right now, I think Phoenix multifamily is in a torrid love affair with millennials. And so that's what I wanted to talk about this week.
Yeah.
And
so when you brought up this topic, it's one of the reasons why I personally decided to go into multifamily about 5 years ago when John and I met and we decided to found the company, because I knew a lot of my friends and other millennials who were now into their careers. They viewed homeownership differently. And now here we are 5 years later, post-COVID. A lot of things have changed, and then some things haven't changed. And I think it's important to kind of go back and really look at that large demographic, that large group of the population who's now, about 25 to 45-ish, something like that now.
in their 40s, which,
Yeah.
barely make the cut. Right?
Yeah. So early 40s. And it's a really interesting demographic in so many ways, because it's the largest demographic now who are adults, and they really are driving a lot of the multifamily trends. And so I think it's a really important thing to talk about, especially as it relates to investing in multifamily and understanding it for the future.
Yeah, I think it just Phoenix alone, I think it's 25% of Phoenix is just millennials. And they're looking, where do we want to live? What's important to us? And Goldman Sachs did a survey or a study where if the biggest things beside happiness, quality of life, is they were looking for open spaces, walkable areas, access to activities and nightlife. It was really about going out into the community and feeling a part of a community instead of being in a big house behind a gate. They wanted to really be a part of their area and enjoy their life.
Yeah. And if you think about kind of the stereotypical millennial, when they were coming out of college, they weren't as money motivated as prior generations. They weren't thinking, I need to go get a job. I need to go start earning as much as I can. They were more about experiences and having a life that they enjoyed. And it wasn't just about the bottom line. And, there was a lot of criticism in some circles around that idea, because it was different than what their parents thought. And I heard some people really, I liked some of their parents who really embraced them, saying, I actually think that they get it. And whether you think millennials get it and that they realize that life isn't just about earning income, but it's about enjoying it, or whether you think that they're silly, it is what it is. Millennials enjoy an experience. They want to live in places where they can have those experiences. They don't necessarily need a house in the suburbs. But if you just look at, actually, both you and I both lived in New York for a while in our 20s and 30s. And for me, having grown up in the West, then going back east, and I had 5 years where I didn't own a car. And I rode, public transportation. I had a bike, and it really converted me to the joy of that versus, living in a big city where you commute for half an hour each way. You're not interacting with anyone. You're in this metal box, and then you arrive to work. Versus, you ride your bike to work. You ride the subway, or you ride light rail. And so when I moved to Phoenix, I moved to Tempe. I wanted to live in a place where I could ride public transportation. And I said, I'm not going to buy a car. And about, a few months later, I ended up buying a car because Arizona, you have to. But I still have that desire to, I would love to not have to have a car. I'd love to not have to sit in a commute. And millennials are, I'm like you, I'm an older millennial, just barely in the demographic.
Yeah.
But some of those things definitely apply to me, to friends who still live in those big cities. And Phoenix has kind of gone that way. There are some elements to that city millennial life that millennials are after. It's not as good as some cities, though. It's not New York.
Well, not everybody can be New York. Yeah. This is a good second. It's a good second. And people are coming here in droves.
Yeah. So what I think one of the data points was it's like one of the third most desirable city for millennials. You found an article about that. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that and some of the things that millennials like about a place like Phoenix versus other areas.
Yeah. Not only like our weather, they more time to be out enjoying themselves in this weather, not having to shovel any snow, right? Relatively low cost of living. Our job growth is bringing so many people. I think Arizona, I think we have 200 new people move here a day, and millennials are, I think, just Phoenix, the population grew by 20% just in the last decade. So it's, people, they want to come here.
Yeah. And COVID definitely brought some more millennials back to Arizona because we were open. We stayed open. Scottsdale, there was a poll that Scottsdale was the #1 city for COVID because a lot of the things were open. And I mean, that's where I lived during COVID, and I was able to ride my bike. I was able to go to the gym or the outdoor gym, and life wasn't, totally upside down for us. And so a lot of millennials came there. It's lacking some of the things that, LA, San Francisco, and then some of the newer hubs like Austin and Denver, and Dallas have, where there's not quite the nightlife in a Phoenix that you have in those places, kind of the nightlife, the restaurants, the social
but
side.
That's improving.
It's improving.
I think we just saw their retail spaces at their lowest vacancy in a decade, and that because they're showing that people still are going out. They want to go out to eat. They still want to spend their money. They want to socialize, and so buildings kind of, they can't get them leased fast enough. Yeah,
and I think your point earlier about jobs. I've had a lot of friends who have moved to the area because their employer, either post-COVID or during COVID, moved folks here, and this is where the opportunities were. And you go where the opportunities are. And then when you have a mass group of folks in an area like this, that's what actually creates the cool community and the nightlife and those other things as that's created. And in the last 20 years, downtown Phoenix has totally transformed from a place that you didn't really want to go in the 2000s to a place now where the Suns are doing well. The Diamondbacks are downtown, not doing as well, but the games are still fun to go to. And downtown has really become a cool place now with a lot of restaurants and activities. And so I think Phoenix continues to be a place that attracts more and more of that demographic, especially from a job standpoint. Then you will see some more of the activities come, some more of the nightlife come. It's there, but it's not, it's kind of second tier to some of these other cities, but it's definitely on the upswing.
Yeah, and as I think people weigh out kind of quality of life and how much it's worth it, and it's growing. I grew up here, and the streets that we were told never to go downtown, right? Never to go down to, now are where the most fun is. It's after being gone for a decade to New York and coming back, it's like a little
changed.
New York. Yeah,
it's changed. Yeah, and I live in central Phoenix now, and I take the light rail down. I ride light rail down to the D-backs games. and I love going to those games. Air conditioning, which is a really unique
It's a big one.
experience. It's 100 degrees outside, and you go into a baseball game that's 75 degrees, and it's really a unique atmosphere. And I think the other important thing that's driving millennials trends with multifamily is that they are getting married later.
Yeah.
They are starting families later. They're going to still get married. They're still going to
But
start
when they're
families.
ready.
It's going to be
Yeah.
later, and they're going to have fewer kids, most likely,
Yes.
than prior generations. And the other part of it is they don't mind putting off home ownership.
Yeah.
That comes later, just like everything else has been pushed back. So they're putting off home ownership. So you see a lot fewer people owning homes now than even the numbers. In 2007, home ownership was about 8% higher than it is now, and you see that really hasn't gone back to where those levels were since then, because folks are in this demographic are happy to rent, to have the flexibility to move, to go on vacation, to switch jobs. They're not getting locked in. And that's a
Yeah,
big change from 20 years ago.
I think it's 1 in 5 millennials in a survey, they said they plan to rent forever. And with so many people working remote, they want to have their options open to go where they want and not be locked in.
And that brings up an interesting thing with us, because obviously we own apartment buildings, but we also have a lot of investors who are millennials, and they may be renting. A lot of them do rent, but they are still investing in real estate through us. So it's kind of, they get the flexibility. This is kind of the new economy where, if you kind of think of some of the things in the new economy where Uber, people, instead of owning a car, they'll Uber more frequently. Yep. Instead of, renting out a house, they'll keep their house and Airbnb it. And then people who want to come into an area and live in an area for 6 months, they won't rent a house. They'll use an Airbnb. And this is very, very true when it comes to renting as well. Is people are fine to rent, but they still need to invest, and they like real estate as an investment. Their parents invested in real estate, but that was their primary residence. Now folks are saying, if I'm going to rent, I still need to invest. And that's where, investing in our projects, it's really unique. A lot of our investors are actually renters because they want to put money away, and they're not in their primary residence, so they need to do it through us.
They're very smart. I do think our investors are the smartest. The thing I find really interesting too is, because millennials are such a driving force in multifamily, that how it's influencing the design of the multifamily units, and how different companies are catering to that. And I think we do that, and lots of places do that, is how to cater to this group, and so what they're looking for in a building.
Yeah, and that in one of our most recent projects, for example, we have a whole area of the project dedicated to workspace. Yep. And this was also partly due to COVID, but now you can reserve an office, you can reserve a desk, you can go and reserve a conference room on site where you live, and go and use that on site as an office. People love that amenity, because if you do have your own house, a lot of times you dedicate a room to your office. But if you're living in a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment building, that's always been kind of a non-option. People don't really want to work from their sofa. So to be able to stay and walk over by the pool and go up to the clubhouse and work remotely from there is a really unique option. And that's one of the big amenities that's driving that. What are the other amenities that millennials want?
They're looking for gyms. They want big outdoor spaces. They want very tech-friendly spaces, smart, friendly apartments. They're kind of rated higher on their wants. Places that are good for the environment and good is kind of being higher than big bedrooms and lots of space.
And the other big thing that we see is most millennials have pets. And even a new project that's brand new, that has newly been renovated, if you don't make it pet friendly, you won't get it leased up. And if you do make it pet friendly, it opens it up to the market. And you can also do some cute things like a dog wash station or a dog area, a small dog park like we have at one of our projects that really appeals to a millennial.
I have a friend who's looking for a place right now, and because she has 2 dogs, that's the number 1 on her list, and right away won't even look at places that aren't going to take her dogs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's
I mean, they're part of
deal
the family.
breaker.
And that
Yes.
is also different for the millennial cohort.
Yeah.
The millennial demographic is really driving the trends in multifamily as we look at not only the number of people who continue to rent, who are happy renting, the amenities that they want at the projects, at their homes. And we see this cohort is also one of the largest cohorts right now out renting. So you have to cater to them as we do at our projects. And we also love that a lot of our investors are renters. So it is a very unique and kind of fun story to follow along as we follow and see what the millennials do as they continue to age, have families, and many of them will continue to rent. Same thing.
So Phoenix multifamily and the millennial is a love story. And I think they are going to have a very happy marriage.